And we are live. We are live, and there's nobody here. Just us.
Anything on today?
I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, we got two people now, but we'll see if they're coming. Oops.
And it may not have blended evenly.
Well, hello, whoever's out there. Right now, it looks like there's only us.
Well, nobody likes us.
Nobody likes us. Okay. Well, it was Miss Slice. That was Stephen and Walter live. Actually, got a lot of ceiling in this shot here. Nobody. Well, we just talk amongst ourselves. Are we broadcasting? It's supposed to be. Oh, 3 watching now. Okay, one of them would be us, me. Another one would be you, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I never noticed this down here below. That comes up.
I have a 2.
Chat. That's
3.
Yeah, 3.
3 watching now.
Ooh, hello, whoever. Hi, say hello. We're lonely. We're very lonely. Huh.
4. I got 4. Someplace up there it says 4.
Yeah, well, it says 4 down here too. Oh, Andy's here. Hi, Andy. Thank goodness. We thought there was nobody. So, Andy, what's new and exciting with you as we wait for other people to join us? If there's other people going to join us. Maybe everybody's sleeping today. Oh, 6. Say hello, whoever you are. Don't leave Andy hanging. Well, maybe today's topic's not to everybody's liking.
No.
I don't know. They're bored with us. They don't want us anymore. Andy says, I'm trying my hand at watercoloring. I want to eventually nature journal. Oh, I wish I could watercolor. I wish I could paint. I can't.
Have you ever tried?
Yeah, and it's a mess. All of my paintings are abstract. That's what I call them. Abstract mess. Well, 6 of us here, and only Andy chatting.
Yours says 6, mine says 5.
Oh, mine says 6. Yours says 6 now. No, it says 5. Mine says 6.
Oh.
I'm learning that it's really about practicing. Yeah, but I still think you got to have a little bit of talent to work with.
Yeah, I don't know
Oh, Virginia's here. Hi,
I don't
Virginia.
know if I'd be able to do.
No,
I haven't really tried that much, but
I wish I could. And I always admire people that can. They're like that Stephen Draws, young lad, and he just goes, or M&M Studio, and they can just sit down and away they go. I mean, that's a part of your brain that must be activated somehow. It's funny though. Both my grandmothers could draw.
Well, maybe because you haven't really applied yourself.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Laura's here. Hi, Laura. Happy Sunday to you too, Laura. We'll just give another couple of seconds here to see who else is joining us. We're getting a few people coming in now, which is kind of nice. We're starting to think that you had forsaken us. You've had enough of us. You don't want us anymore. Maybe we should have started a super chat. So you get maybe that people think it's better if they can pay for it. I don't know. No, I said I would never do that. I won't because I don't want to see how little we get. So we've got 9 people watching now, but I've only got 3. No, you're the best part of the weekends. Oh. Well, Laura, thank you for the compliment. Just makes me wonder what kind of life you have. Sorry. I don't mean that as an insult. I appreciate the compliment. I'm taking a break from searching art supplies. Can't find my stencils. I've got about 200 or so that I never use. This is definitely a Slurpee today. So, I guess we'll just get started. Since it's not quantity, it's quality. Nah, it's quantity. Everybody always says that. It's not quantity, it's quality. Nah. It's quality or quantity. But anyway, so let's just start talking about... Laura says, no, I know you don't mean any insults. No, don't. Not intentionally anyways. So talked to my mother today. She actually picked up the phone on the second ring. I said to her, what are you doing? Sitting on the phone? Well, pretty much.
She's waiting for your brother to call.
Well, I asked her about that, whether my brother had called or not. And she said, no. But I never know when he's called or not because my brother and I don't speak. And his choice, not mine. And my mother said to me, now what day is today? I said, it's Sunday, Mother. Oh, yeah. So it was a short conversation because there was nothing new to talk to her about. Same old, same old. So anyway, she's fine. There haven't been any outbreaks, I don't think, over at her nursing home, so that's a good thing. There seemed to be more of them last year.
Well, it varies from year to year.
I guess.
They handle it differently these days than they used to.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well,
it used to be when my mom had a outbreak in the nursing home. They'd lock down the whole nursing home.
Hi, Mel.
And you couldn't go in to see them. So it to the point where it was detrimental to their health because nobody could go visit them.
Yeah, you're right, Laura. Laura says, no loss there, Stephen. Your brother is his own maker. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. It's just sad because, I haven't seen my brother in about, last time I saw him was for 5 minutes and he popped into the hospital before my mother got into the nursing home because he lives out in BC, in British Columbia. So he's 5,000 kilometers away, but he doesn't talk to me. He doesn't call.
No.
If I call him, it just rings. They never pick it up.
And you'd think that if he was trying to figure out what's going on, if he couldn't get a hold of his mother or something like that, you'd think he'd try to contact Steve to find out what's going on, but no.
Well, I don't think my sister-in-law lets him. And my brother doesn't have as my sister puts it, he needs to grow a pair. But anyways, speaking of my sister, she's in Mexico. She and her husband go to Mexico around this time of the year, every year. They love Mexico. And my brother-in-law's parents own a timeshare there.
Yeah, I think the only reason they go was because your brother-in-law's parents have the timeshare.
But I don't know if they actually stay at the timeshare.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
They stay there. They they get a room, but they don't get it for all-inclusive or whatever.
Oh.
I guess there's different levels that they got. I was asking them about that last time, and your brother-in-law says, yeah, you could get a choice. You could have a meal plan or you don't have a meal plan.
Oh. Oh, I don't know how that works. Well, anyways, they're there. Mouth was full. They're there right now for 2 weeks. So, that's good. I hope it's warm for them. But anyways, my sister goes and checks on my mother all the time. She lives a mile away from her. But my brother doesn't talk to her either. And as far as my sister's concerned, they can just, well, literally drop dead. Because she's done with him. Which is funny because my sister was closer to my brother than she was to me.
That's probably why she is like that, because she probably feels hurt.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you know, she's 8 years younger than me. She's only 4 years younger than my brother. Because we're each, 4 years apart. So, and by the time she got to being a teenager, I was gone. I was in university and I'd started working. And so my brother was still around for that part of her life. So I guess, I don't know. We all have one like that in the family. Yep, very true. Well, there's never been any love lost between my brother and I. Anyways, because we're both very different from each other. And, I mean, when we were teenagers, we used to fight a lot, but then teenagers do. Especially when I'm the oldest. And, like I was in grade 13 when my brother went into grade 9. So, and the last thing he wanted to be seen around with his nerdy brother, because I was the nerd, my brother was the sports person. Considering he's only 2 feet high. I mean, well,
he's a little short guy.
Yeah. I'm the giant in my family at 5'6". So
what's your brother, about 5'4"?
5'3". I mean, shrinking probably because I'm shrinking. So, yeah, Laura says live and let live, eh? Yeah. I mean, if my brother called me up tomorrow, or even sent me an email.
Well, even when he was down,
I'd definitely speak to him.
Time when your mother was in the hospital, you actually had a conversation with him, and then and it made it sound like you had sort of
Well, I thought we had a really good. We were on the phone for almost an hour, and I was explaining to him what was going on with Mom, and the whole bit, and I thought I'd opened up the channels of communication and everything. I sent him an email about a week later, just letting him know what was going on with my mother. I got a 2-word answer. Actually, 1 word. Okay. And I sent him another one after that, and I never heard anything again. And I know he got the email. But, I don't know. Such is life, I guess.
I know your sister-in-law has a hate-on for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's had a hate-on for me ever since. Well, I think she always had a hate-on for me. It was just when they lived out here, she had to play nice.
Mm.
But when my dad passed away, and that's a story I told at another time, so I'm not going to get into it again, but essentially, it interfered with their plans when my father died. And it was all my fault, apparently, with the arrangements for the funeral. And yeah, I made the arrangements for the funeral, but they were to my mother's wishes. I mean, and I told my brother that, and he kind of went, oh, like he didn't know that. Well, you would know that, Craig, if you talked to me. And why would I have all the say over it anyways? It was my mother's husband, basically. Yeah. Well, yeah, he was our father, but she's the spouse. It was whatever my mother wished. I was just the agent for carrying out their wishes. But anyways, that's water under the bridge now, and I'm not going to reopen that one up, so just leave it. Maybe someday. I have a feeling they'll come out of the woodwork if my mother passes away. And the only reason they'll come out of the woodwork is because they'll probably figure there's money to be had. Joke's on them. Actually, no, there is money to be had, but it's certainly not barrels of it. You and Walter have a great life with awesome interests. You're looking after your mom and you have nothing to be sorry for. If your brother has an issue, it's his problem alone. Yeah, I know. But it's easier said than done in some cases. But I get your point. Exactly. So, I mean, I'm not losing sleep over it because I'm beyond that. And so such is life. Anyways, let's get off that topic, and I'm going to show you my project. It's not quite finished yet, but I had the last sewing class for this thing called a giant dahlia, and as I said, it's not quite finished, but it is pretty much sewn together. But I have to quilt it, and I have to top stitch it and do a couple little other minor things. But this is what it looks like. Can you hold the corner there, please? So you can see it's essentially it's going on a table, a round table. It's a tablecloth, but it's not quilted yet. I have to quilt it, and this is the back of it. There's a big hole in the back. Well, you can't see it at the moment, but there's a slit because I had to turn it inside out for the batting and the backing, and yeah, don't be poking my hole. Right there. I have to sew that up as well. So I need, like I said, it'll lay flatter. Right now it looks sort of like you need to stuff it full of bean bags and make it into a beanbag chair. Was not particularly easy, although it wasn't that hard either as things go. But there were curves to sew, and then there's Y seams in this, and that's why I took the class to learn how to do Y seams, and I did. And they're not that scary. They're manageable. But I wanted to get, there was only 3 classes in this. This really needed to be about a 4-class session thing. And we weren't really supposed to put it together yet. The instructor wanted to show us how, but I read the instructions, which were not that easy to follow. But I figured it out. And the reason I put it together before I went to the class today was because there's no room in the classroom. There are 8 of us taking this class. So you have this much space to work, like the length of your sewing machine. And this kind of project has to be laid out. I was actually on the floor of the store. Good thing it's a Sunday because they're not open on Sundays. So it's just our class in there. And I was laying on the floor in their store, which doesn't have a lot of floor space either because this place is pretty small. Trying to lay it out, pin it to the backing fabric and the batting, so that I could sew it. And, just if we had all been at that same stage, I don't know what they would have done because there wasn't the room for that kind of thing. And that's usually the problem with the classes. I love taking the classes, but there's certain things you need space for. Like, I always try to have my fabric as best I can, given whatever the project is, all pre-cut before I go in. Because there's no place to cut. Like there's one cutting mat kind of a thing. I take my own, but if there's a lot of people in the class, there's not enough room. You cut through somebody else's project, cut through them, whatever, that kind of stuff. So, and that kind of annoys me. I mean, it's really nobody's fault because it's just the nature of the facility. I know the owner would like something bigger, but, rents are high and you need parking. And so, you find a place that has lots of parking, but the rent's astronomical. Or you find a place that's got reasonable rent, but there's no parking. So it's a catch-22.
The floor space or something.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So, and I have a feeling anyways, no matter how big a place you got, it would have just more product in it, and it would still have a small classroom. Because, it's a business. She's got to sell product. So I get it. It's just I find it kind of annoying for some classes like this. Like this was a class that ideally should have had only 4 people in it, not 8. And then you would have had some of the space. It was still been cramped, but you have space to spread it out. But it's to make money as well. So, I get it. What are people saying? Laura says, wow, awesome, great colors. Looks nice, really like the colors. Your Dahlia? Quite is beautiful. Yeah, I think that's how you spell it. Dahlia. Yeah, I got asked today by the store owner or something. I forget what brought up the conversation. I said, well, I learned a lot of things in this class. I learned how to do Y seams, okay? I already knew how to sew on curves, so that wasn't a problem. I learned how to decipher very complex instructions, and I also learned I'll never do it again. And she goes, oh, well, was it the class, meaning the instructor? And I went, no, the instructor was excellent, and it wasn't that at all. And I said, well, she says, it was just the project. And I said, well, it was sort of the project. It's not that I hate the project, I just found it tedious. There's an awful lot of little pieces in there that have to be sewn extremely precisely. I mean, at one point you have to go from a dot to a dot because it's hard to explain when you can't really see the pattern, but it's not just a question of matching up seams and sewing a straight line. You have intersections that have to be met, and there's areas where it's offset, which is basically what a Y seam is, and things like that. And I just found it tedious. It didn't help either that I sold, so that's all in arcs that you see on there around a center piece. So there are 8 arcs, and each arc has 5-6 pieces in it, and they all curve around, and you have to get the right sides matching up. And when I first started sewing the arcs, I did the first 4 correctly, and I misinterpreted the instructions, and I sewed the other ones in the opposite way. And no, they all had to go the same way, which if I really thought about it, that makes more sense. But at the time, I didn't think about that. So I had we don't call it ripping out, we call it unsew all those arcs and do them again. And actually, I didn't have except for that, I didn't really have a lot of ripping out to do in that, which was kind of surprising. Some of them were asking me today, well, how'd you get it to lay flat? And I said, it just did. And I couldn't tell them what they were doing wrong or what was going on with theirs. One woman, she says, I got a huge volcano. We were warned about the volcano. But
well, it could be that she wasn't very even sewing her pieces together.
Well, it is very precise. It is very precise, which makes it also very tedious in comparison to other quilts I've made. Now, that's a tablecloth. It could be a tree skirt. You could develop it into a full-size quilt as well, but I said,
kind of big for a tree skirt, but anyway.
Well, maybe if you got a big tree. I mean, the owner of the store, she's making this too, and she's making it as a tree skirt. Okay. Actually, she picked some really nice fabric, Christmas fabrics for the tree. I think it'll look sensational as a tree skirt. But she was saying, she's always looking for shortcuts on it because she doesn't have a lot of time to do a lot of sewing. And she was going to not use batting. She was going to just put a flannel back on it. Mm-hmm. Well, if it's just going to be a tree skirt, yeah, you don't really necessarily need, even as a tablecloth,
you don't necessarily need batting.
You don't need batting for it. But the only thing is you have a lot of seams on the inside. So if you didn't have batting to cushion it, as a tablecloth, it might be a little lumpy. Actually, it's going to be a decorative tablecloth. I'm going to put it on. We have a round bistro table downstairs in our rec room, and that's what it's going to go on. So it's never going to be used in sense like no one's ever going to put plates on it. I'm never going to wash it. It's never going to come near any food or anything like that. So, it could be a wall hanging. There were things you could add to it to make it more like square in the background. But no, I said, I'm done with it. In fact, the owner of the store, she said, did you know there's an add-on kit you can get for this that does this and this with it, which is more templates, probably another $50. And I said, yes, I do know there is. And no, I don't want you to order me one. That's how the discussion got going. She says, why? And I said, because this is a one-off. I'm never making another one. Oh, did you not like the class? No, I liked the class well enough. No, it's tedious. So anyways, Andy says maybe they should cut down on class size and have more classes. Actually, they do have quite a few classes.
And that's part of the problem is cutting down the classes because she's not normally open on a Sunday. They have so many classes that it fills the rest of the week. So and it would be probably, it would be ideal to maybe have more classes, but she'd have to fit it in somehow.
Mm-hmm. She has to, physically.
And then you have to have the time for the instructor to do it. And
all that kind of stuff. And if she cuts down on the number of people, I don't think it's necessarily a question of how much money she makes from the classes. In fact, from what I'm hearing and putting together, because I heard a little bit of a discussion today, I think the class fee that they charge goes directly to the instructor. So like this class was, I think, $65. So that fee goes to the instructor. Where she makes money from it is in the selling of patterns, rulers, notions, fabric, all that kind of stuff from
So,
it.
like, I mean, you can cut down the class from like 6 to 4 or whatever, but then the instructor would get less money.
Yeah.
And then, or you'd have to charge more for the class. And as it is, that class, between the time you buy the pattern
Yeah.
and you buy the fabric and everything else, ends up being quite an expensive
Well,
class.
yeah, that one probably that what you're looking at right there, between materials, the cost of the class, the special templates I had to buy, which were $75 for the templates and all that. That's probably about a $300 quilt. In fact, I would say on average, most of those classes cost me $200 to $300 in, by the time the class fee and in the materials. I mean, it's not a cheap hobby, I can tell you that, but no hobbies are. And those of you that do crafting and things like that, you know what you spend on that kind of thing. But I don't really resent that because I'm learning, But I also think she wants to, if she made the classes smaller, it isn't necessarily a financial consideration. I think it's because there's so many people wouldn't be able to get into the class. As it is now, it's very competitive. And you've heard me tell about the open house. And when they have the open house, that's when the new session of classes is about to start and you go in and you sign up for them. Well, we're always first in line. And because it's a zoo when you do it, we have a strategy because we want to make sure we get the classes that we want to get. And you snooze, you lose. So,
And not only that, if you go first thing in the morning, you're in and out of there in no time.
yeah, because it is a small place. And a lot of the ladies who come for that open house come to shop at the same time. And she has all of her staff work that day because it is an utter zoo. We get in, we get out. I don't ever consider going in there at that point in time to buy anything because forget it. It's just crazy. And the poor lady who's the main person on her staff who runs the cash register, how she keeps things straight, I don't know. Because it's just everybody's on top of everybody
I'll get your refill.
in there. But, it's a great store. Great prices, great selection of stuff, great staff, the whole bit. The only thing that could make it better is if she was in a bigger, had a location where she could have a bigger classroom. But then again, having said that, I have a feeling she'd fill those classrooms up too. So maybe it wouldn't make any difference. So what are people saying? My mother made me a quilt, Kathy says, that could be used for a tablecloth. It has batting, probably a little unstable for glasses. She's gone, so I love all the quilts. Yeah, if you do heavy quilting on it, the more you quilt it, the flatter these things get. So it's a little bit more stable. I haven't decided how I'm going to quilt that yet. Because of its unusual shape, because it's round, I'm not sure if I'll do it in my embroidery machine like I have been lately on some of my quilts. I could probably figure out a way to do it, but I'm thinking now I may just do what they call stitch in the ditch, which basically is just going along all the seams and around. It's just straight line quilting, or I'll do a wavy pattern, my infamous wavy pattern with a walking foot. I don't know yet. I haven't figured it out. What I did find kind of interesting today, though, is when you put the backing and the batting on, you do it like you were making like a pillowcase or that kind of thing. Because you have all these points all the way around, you lay it out, the square of fabric for the backing and a square of the batting, the same size, and you lay the batting down first, you put the square of batting on top of it, but you cut a hole. Well, you actually cut your backing into two pieces and seam it. But you leave the seam in the center about a 10-inch hole. That's so you can reach in and you lay your quilt top face down on top of it. So all the way around the outside of it, up and down along the points. And then you put your hand in and you pull it right sides out. So the batting goes in, the backing comes out where it should be, and your front comes out right side up. And then you have to push out all the points. So just like if you're making a pillow slip or something like that, you push out the things. That took a little while to do, but it worked out okay. And then I just have to sew up that space, which I can either do it by hand sewing. I'm thinking I can possibly do it machine sewing. If I fold it in half, I'll just, because it's right on the seam. I hate hand sewing. So, anyways, I'll figure it out. But the instructor said to me, oh, you've already got your batting on this? And I says, well, yeah. How am I going to get the batting inside if it's all sewn up? She looked at me. And I said, you've got batting in yours, her sample. How did you do that? If you didn't do it this way. She went, oh. Geez, I made that in 2013. I don't remember what I did. Okay. And then she got thinking about it. She says, yeah, I must have done it that way. Well, you're the one that told me to leave the 10-inch gap in the thing. So, whatever. But, yeah. So, anyways, that was the thrill of the week. No hobby is cheap, especially if you dive right in to learn as much as you can. That's right. It sounds like she has a great shop. She does. She has a really great shop.
She has really good staff, and it almost makes you feel like your family there.
Yeah, that's it, Kathy. Dahlia, yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm not saying it right. Dahlia?
Dahlia.
Dahlia. Yeah, rented.
Yeah, well, they make it a very inviting shop.
Yeah. The staff are really nice, extremely knowledgeable, extremely helpful. She has a great variety of fabrics at good prices. I mean, $15 a meter for most of her fabrics. That's cheap. Every other place we go to averages anywhere from $18 to $20 a meter. I'm talking Canadian funds, okay, as well. But actually in the States, it's not any cheaper because when we've been in the States, we've gone and priced it. And, when you translate it into Canadian dollars, it works out to almost the same.
Yeah, not only that, everything's sold by the yard, whereas we buy by the meter.
So we actually get about 3 inches more for the price. Same price. Yeah. Yeah, these shops are hard to find, Laura, because they're dying. There used to be 3 in this area. We're down to 1. And there's people that come to the classes that come from all over the place. Yeah, they don't just come from our immediate area. They come from other places. One of my classes, there was a lady who would travel for the class 3 hours to get there. She lived in a place called Cornwall. And she came, and the class was during the week, during the day, and it was in the morning. And she would drive. She'd be up at the crack of dawn. Well, the class started at 10. She was probably up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get there. And then she'd drive back after the class. And she was doing this for like 4 weeks in a row, for 1 day a week. But it's because there wasn't anything out in her area that she could get to. Although there is a quilt store in Cornwall that has classes, but I guess it wasn't something she wanted, so...
Cornwall for us is out east of us.
Yeah, it's east of us. I'm not sure where are you, Laura. That's probably, if you're in the States, yeah, it's north of you, probably. For us, it's way out east. It's on the way to Ottawa in Quebec. But anyways, yeah, it's a great store. So we're working on another project right now. We have a vase, or vase, tomato, with these red artificial flowers in them, sort of lilies. They've been there for years. And, they're starting to fade and get a little on the dusty side and that kind of thing. And so I thought, well, we should spruce it up. So I got this brilliant idea that why don't we do some what they call freestanding lace in our embroidery machines, because of course Walter has an embroidery machine now too, and make our own assortment of flowers and put them in. Yeah, it sounded like a good idea at the time. Well, we're still working at it. It's a bit of a challenge, we are finding. It's going to take quite a while to get enough to fill this thing out if we actually go on with it.
Laura's in Guelph.
Oh, you're in Guelph. Well, okay. So, yeah, so Cornwall's east then of you, too. Cornwall's right off of number 2 highway. And I know Guelph well because that's where I got my first degree at the University of Guelph. I
It's
love
kind
Guelph.
of off the 401.
Well, it's off the 401, but not that far off the 401.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she says, yep, to me that is north and east. I'm in Guelph. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. I see where you're going with that. But anyways, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, flower bouquet. So we've been having a few little problems. Well, when you do something like freestanding lace, it's a very open weave, and sometimes your embroidery machine can get caught up in the stitches. You know, your bobbin does a little bird's nest underneath, they call it, and all this, like you had yours jump right out of the hoop.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So we'll see. You have to have patience. Yeah, Laura says it's about 15 minutes out the 401. Yeah. So, anyways, it's we'll see what happens, and if it works out. My idea is that we'll do a variety of different flowers and in rainbowy colors, kind of a thing. You know, blue roses, things like that, pink colors of the rainbow, kind of a thing. But we'll see how that all works out. You'll be the first to know. Okay, so what's that take us to? Oh, some new stuff in the news. So, our lovely little mini Trump, Doug Ford, he decided that we should have redesigned car license plates. Now, there were problems with the old ones. They were white and blue, and they were peeling. Finish on them was coming off. It was like a plasticized stuff. And so you'll see all these people driving around with numbers you can't see because the blue peeled off, and so it's white on white, and you can't see what they are. So they redeveloped them. Well, a lot of controversy. First of all, they made them into the colors of the party, the Conservative Party, blue and white. Now, yeah, they were blue and white before, but now they are really blue and white. Very obvious PC, Progressive Conservative, colors. And they changed the slogan. Our slogan was yours to discover. You know how they always put a little slogan for, you know, states and provinces on the license plate. He changed it to a place to grow. Now, that isn't so bad because that isn't anything new. That is a slogan we had back in the 60s, in the 70s. There used to be a little song that went with that. Some give us a place to stand, give us a place to grow, and we'll call that place Ontario. Yeah, well, it's kind of stupid. They had kids singing it. But that's what it was for years. Then they made it yours to discover, and now they've gone back to a place to grow. But I have a feeling his first selection was his little slogan that was, when he came into power,
Well,
Ontario, open for business.
apparently that's on the commercial license plates.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So they went with the place to grow. Well, the problem with the license plates are they're non-reflective. They're made out of vinyl or something. And at night you can't see the numbers. And the cops have been complaining. But given this government, they denied it. Oh no, they had consulted all the interested parties, including the cops, and they said it was fine and whatnot. Well, then some cop posted an Instagram picture showing one of the license plates at night, and you couldn't read it. And then somebody else had a cell phone image showing two cars, one with the old license plate, one with the new license plate. It's going back and forth between them, and yeah, the old license plate, no problem seeing the number. New license plate, it just disappeared at night. Well, finally the provincial government did recognize the fact that there was a problem, but they tried to blame it on the company that made them, and the company that made them was 3M. Okay? So they are going to do something about them, but in the meantime, it's going to take about a month for them to get proper ones made that I guess will solve this problem. They're going to issue, anybody that's getting new license plates, they're going to get these ones now that don't have any, you know, reflective properties, and they're going to replace them when the new ones come in. So it kind of sounds like the cart before the horse, doesn't it? And on top of it all, the red light cameras that the city of Toronto had put a lot of money into and just got installed and up and can't pick up the new license plates. And they say that on the 407, which is a major, huge highway here in Ontario, that
It's mega expensive to drive on.
it is mega expensive because it's a toll road.
It's supposed to be the most expensive toll road in North America.
Yeah, like if you ever come to Ontario and you see the 407, yeah, be prepared to pay. And I mean, to go from where we live, Oshawa, to what? Where does it?
Well, we drive to the airport, which is about 45 minutes away.
Mhm.
Calculate that. I'm not sure how many kilometers that is. If we do a return trip to the airport, it's over $60.
Yeah, for a toll road. So they have cameras on it that when you enter and you leave the 407, it takes a picture of your license plate and they know who to send the bill to. And now I haven't heard anybody from the 407 saying that the cameras aren't working on the new ones.
Apparently, the 407 says they can read them.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, just another stupid muck-up mess that this government we have now is doing. It's just ludicrous.
One thing after another.
I wonder what happened at their big caucus meeting this weekend. Haven't heard the
At the
news.
conference, they had to decide strategy in getting reelected.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's some of them that aren't very happy with the leadership of Doug Ford. Surprise. So that means there are a few people in the provincial government that might have half a brain. Most of them don't have one at all. Hi, Cindy. What's going on here? Kathy says you can spray them with a hose outside to clean them. Yeah, I know, and you can get, well, there's silk, right? There's a spray you can get. I have some, and I've used it. And you can spray it with this spray, and it sort of cleans them up a little bit. But they're faded now and everything, too. I mean, they've been sitting around for a long time. It's time to freshen things up.
I always liked, out of all the fake flowers I've seen, I've always liked those particular fake flowers because they look kind of nice.
Well, they were expensive.
And the other flowers I've ever seen are lousy looking flowers.
Well, they weren't dollar store.
No, I know that.
In fact, I don't know where I got them.
Thought you got them out at Michael's.
I may have. But we've had them for 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think...
Yeah, I know. We need to have something else.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the latest in Ontario politics. It's just
And all the
comedy
teachers
bears.
are still on strike. So.
Oh yeah, they had a big protest. All four of the unions, teachers' unions, all went out on Friday, one-day strike. And which is kind of funny because the kids are usually only, on average, are getting 4-day weeks lately because they have rotating strikes. So one day out of every week, certain boards are out on strike. And we just had Family Day here in Ontario, which was, so last weekend was a long weekend, so there was no school on Monday, and the kids were all out across the whole province for this strike action on Friday, so they had a 3-day week. But they actually, it was pretty impressive because they showed an aerial shot of them at Queen's Park. Queen's Park is in the center of Toronto, and that's where our provincial legislature is. And there's a ring road that goes all the way around the legislation building. It's a fairly lengthy thing, and it was just packed. All teachers from one end to the other, all the way around, marching around the place. And I remember doing that back in about 20-some years ago. Well, 23 years ago, they said, was the last major strike that we had. And, yeah, the guy that's the Minister of Education, who knows nothing, he's looking a little worn. But he keeps trying to say that the unions are being unreasonable, the unions won't talk. Well, no, the government won't talk. So I think the government's just waiting for the teachers to all go out, like, not come back, and then they'll legislate them back to work. So who knows? I mean, actually, the strategy's pretty good right now where they're doing these rotating strikes because whole province isn't out, so they can't legislate anybody back to work because it's one day. So we'll see what happens. Of course, you know where my sentiments lie. Of course, I'm with the teachers. Right on. Yes, fight the good fight. Laura says, I feel so much for the teachers. I hope they don't capitulate to Ford. They won't. I can tell you that. They won't. But We did not win much in the last strike action back 23 years ago, and we were out for quite a while. And they legislated us back to work. And the education system has not recouped from or recovered from that, of what they did to them then. And that's what you get, you know. But one thing I'm happy to see is that so far the public, for the most part, seem to be supporting the teachers, which is good. Because really, this strike is about, and you've heard me talk about this before, it isn't about the money the teachers are going to get or could want. They just want cost of living. That's all they want from it. And even that, they would give up as long as they don't take away, as long as they don't increase class sizes, as long as they don't take away benefits, and as long as they don't take away the funding for support staff, the special needs kids, because they're all integrated into our school system. There's not like a special institution for them. There was 40 years ago, 50 years ago, but now they've been integrated with, you know, the regular kids and everything. So you got to have it. Teachers, the average teacher is not trained to deal with autistic children, kids with major learning disabilities, kids who are mentally challenged, physically capable, or whatever they call it these days. All of that kind of stuff. We need specialists to help them out. And the government wants to get rid of all of that. And at the same time, on the other side of the face, talking about because they believe in a quality education. Well, that's not a quality education, is it? No. And Laura says she comes from a multi-generations of teachers. Teachers are vital to society. Yes, they are. So, anyways, we'll see what happens. Who knows? Hi, Bonnie. You're a little late, Bonnie, today. Well, no gold star for you. Okay.
Maybe she thought we were on at 9:05.
Maybe. We will be next week. We'll come to that. Okay, so don't have any real viewers' comments this week. And we haven't been watching anything we haven't really discussed already in any media format. So that takes us to today's topic. And okay, there may be some people out there who might get upset with my ideas about this, but you want to know something? I want to talk about the word hero. Because it seems every time you turn on the news, somebody is a hero. Latest one is Kobe Bryant. Yeah, it was tragic that he lost his life and his daughter and the other 7 people that were with them in that helicopter accident. Yeah, I'm not denying that. But they call him a hero. He was a basketball player, a professional basketball player who made millions in that capacity. And the only reason he was on that helicopter was to go to his daughter's basketball game, and he took a helicopter instead of a car. I mean, yeah, he could have had an accident in a car too. But also the weather was bad. Even the cops weren't flying their chopters that day. But the guy that was flying them around supposedly had specialized training in bad visibility conditions. I have a feeling if you have enough money, everybody's qualified for low visibility. You know, like Kobe Bryant needed to get to this game or something. So, you know, I don't know the circumstances, do any of us. But and that's a little off the topic, but then they're praising him. The Academy Awards come on, and or was it the Grammys?
The Grammys first.
The Grammys first. You thought it was a memorial service for Kobe Bryant that night. I mean, what's her name? The one that was hosting it. Alicia
Keys?
Alicia Keys or whatever. Oh my God, gagged me with a spoon. Also, doubly, that he is black. So you had that whole atmosphere too. But did he solve world hunger? Was he working on a cure for the coronavirus? Was he, saving the hundreds of thousands of millions of people that have died from AIDS? No. He didn't. And in fact, what they seem to forget to mention was that he was charged with sexual assault about 10 or 15 years ago as well. Apparently, that was dismissed. Well, if you've got enough money, anything can be dismissed from the courts. We know that. But is he a hero? Okay, let's take some other examples. Well, we seem to idolize, and when I say we, that doesn't include me, because I don't, but a lot of people seem to idolize figures from the sporting community, and they use the word hero around them. They play a sport. They're really good at their sport. That's great. But again, what did they do for the world lately? Now, some people want to argue that what they do is, though, they create a positive atmosphere, spirit, or something that inspires people to be their best. I think that's bullshit, quite frankly. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I hear about a sports figure being touted as a hero, I don't suddenly have this great inspiration to go out and save the world. So today, I want to talk about what is a hero. What's your point of view from this? What do you think makes a hero? Who are your personal heroes? Who should be labeled with something like that? Here's another one. Well, I'm going to get in trouble for this one, but I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. We take the military, and I'm not undercutting the service that people in the military give to their country. You know, I guess it's sad to say, but I guess we do have a need for them. And in Canada especially, our military is very different from the military of the States. We are peacekeepers, not fighters. Really, we can if we have to. But we've named our major highway that runs from one end of Ontario to the other end of Ontario the Highway of Heroes. Okay, those people gave up their lives. I get it. I guess I am more prone to think of them as heroes. The only reason I hesitate is because I think, is there anything heroic about war? Is there anything heroic about killing other people? Is there anything heroic about putting yourself out there and letting the enemy shoot you? And I know if we wouldn't have a free country that we live in, if we didn't, hadn't gone to the World War I and World War II and Korea and Vietnam and Afghanistan and Middle East and all those other things. I get that. But I still kind of question willy-nilly using the term hero. Now, maybe if we didn't use the word hero with sports personalities and celebrities, if we limit it to people like the armed force personnel that have lost their life during, their tour of duty, then yeah, okay, I can see that a little bit more. But I think we just throw the word hero out there without really thinking about what the characteristics of a hero are. So what are people saying here? Bonnie says she doesn't idolize movie stars or sports players. No, I don't either. They're there for our entertainment. They get paid the big bucks to entertain. I
think a lot of people go nuts over them because they see them. They become visible. They're visible.
They're very visible,
right? I think there's lots of people that are like a scientist that develops a cure for something or another is famous, but probably nobody ever knows what mm-hmm. they look like because they're not in a movie theater. Or they're not.
No. Well, look at the work that like Madame Curie did. Look at the work that Salk and or it was it Banting and Best? Who developed the
insulin?
Banting and Best. I think they're heroes for things that they did there. I think there's a lot of medical professionals that have developed cures for, diseases that used to like kill us at a young age, invented vaccinations, things like that. I think they have heroic qualities because that took a lot of work and a lot of time and effort on their part to do that kind of thing, and it gave back to society. I think that's what my definition is of a hero. Somebody who does something for the betterment of society. And I don't see celebrities for the most part or sports people for the most part. Now, some of them have. Like, let's look at somebody like Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn went over and did a lot of work with children in Africa. In fact, she gave up basically her movie career to do that as a full time. And she brought to the forefront to the world the plight of children in third world countries and, that kind of stuff. So I would say, yeah, that's a part of a criterion for a hero. Mother Teresa, I would call her heroic. She gave of herself in order to help humanity. But sports and celebrities, for the most part, I don't think you can call them heroes. But we do. What are people saying? Canadians don't hero worship as much as Americans. Hero worship doesn't seem to be in Canadian lexicon. Hero worship seems to be an American phenomena. Yeah, I would think that they use the word much more so than we do. But we do have, now, here's an example. I'm not sure. Terry Fox. For those of you Canadian, you know exactly who I mean by Terry Fox. Terry Fox was a young man who decided to raise money for cancer. He had it. He lost his legs to it, and he lost his life as he tried to do a marathon run across Canada. And because of that, a lot of money is donated every year to the Canadian Cancer Association, and because they have the Terry Fox Run every year in September. Is he a hero? I think he is. I think he's truly an example of what would be a Canadian hero, because he was doing something for the betterment of mankind, and he knew, I know that he probably knew within himself that he was never going to be able to finish that run, but he did it anyways. It would have been easy for him to just sit back and do nothing. His life might have lasted a little longer if he had done nothing, but he didn't, because he wanted to help other people that were in similar circumstances as himself. So yeah, I think that's a hero. Mel says, heroes are just ordinary people who do a lot of good things, but nobody talks about them. Also, people who help and save lives in catastrophe areas. That kind of people are real heroes. Yeah, for example, I would say in Australia, they've got a lot of heroes right now. All of those firefighters and the health professionals, paramedics, everything that went in to try and fight those fires and to help people out and that, yeah, I think they're heroes. And some of them lost their lives too. Does that mean then a hero has to be somebody who does something for other people and lose their life over it? I don't think so. But I think they're the ones that we hear about. If somebody loses their life when they're doing something that's so self-sacrificing, I think we hear about those. But there's ordinary heroes everywhere. What about people who go in and adopt animals from shelters, from animal shelters, for the sake of not just so that they have a pet, but so that they're helping out an animal, a species that can't help itself in some ways. I think they're heroes for doing that as well. Not so much, though, if they're taking them from a puppy mill or buying them. That's another thing for another day, I think. That's a discussion right there. What about people who go in and spend hours and hours of their own time trying to help out a kid with something? I think teachers, many teachers, I think are in some ways are heroes, because they go above and beyond what's expected of them. So that might be another characteristic of a hero. So self-sacrificing, not egotistical, and going above and beyond the call of duty. Those are three.
But there are individual people that aren't recognized for anything. And
I think that's probably a fourth characteristic of a real hero. Somebody who is humble. Somebody who's not doing it to be in the limelight. Who's not doing it for the recognition. They're just doing it. And if that's the case, then I think we have a world full of heroes everywhere. I mean, right down to, how about the people who help the homeless? You know, in Toronto, there's a group that go out at night and distribute food and blankets and personal hygiene products and things for those people. And they don't get paid for that. They're just volunteers that do that kind of thing. I think they're heroes, in a sense. Because it's easy for most of us to just sit at home and read about the homeless and go, well, that's terrible. The government needs to do something about it, or somebody should do something about it. But that's as far as we go. These people go beyond that. So I think that's heroic as well. Bonnie says, I think Terry is a hero. He gave of himself. Yeah, that's what I was saying. To bring a cause to the forefront. Yeah. Laura says, my grandfather was the only grounds crewman in the Commonwealth to be awarded a Distinguished Flying Cross for his gallantry for being in the right place at the right time for flying a Lancaster B. Well, I think we had a lot of war heroes. That's one that I have problems with. You know? Because on the one hand, you're going in and you're killing other people. But you're going in and you're doing it because you're commanded to do it, and also because the consequences of not doing it, we're led to believe, would be the end of our civilization as we know it, or of our freedoms and things. That one, I don't like to touch that one because, you know, that's a touchy subject. I'm not against the military.
Well, actually, in the case of World War II, military had to.
Well, they had to. There was no choice in that. Yeah. And I mean, in World War I, a lot of young Canadian guys volunteered to go to war because they thought it was going to be over by Christmas. Because they had no experience. The world really didn't have any experience with something on that scale. So nobody really knew. So they were heroes, but I think a lot of them went to war because it sounded like it was an opportunity to see other parts of the world. It was an adventure because they didn't really have any understanding of what they were getting into. Nobody did. So they were probably unintentional heroes, I guess, if that's a term.
Mel says, usually real heroes
don't talk about themselves. What they do or have done for others are not so lucky. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I said it. They're humble. I think sometimes a real hero is somebody who doesn't start out, they don't go and say, look, I'm going to be a hero because I'm going to do this. I think they just do it because they see a need. They see something that they could do to help out. And they just go into it without even thinking, no, this is just what I got to do. But a lot of these celebrities, they go into these fundraising causes for certain things. Sports guys do too, for it. And because it's great publicity for their team or for their name and whatnot. Well, that's not being a hero. For example, going back to the sports model, the Maple Leafs and the Raptors, two of our major sporting groups, and the Blue Jays, they all have things where they go off to Children's Hospital to sick kids in Toronto or something like that and spend a day or spend a couple of hours entertaining, working with the kids and doing that kind of stuff. Well, that's all very nice, but I can't help but think that's set up by the people who own their franchise, and it's a way to get publicity for it. I mean, I'm sure there are many of them on those teams that would do it regardless, because they probably are those kind of people. But it's being capitalized upon in terms of publicity by the owners of the team. It's just more it's good PR, I guess. Um, Laura says, I understand your hesitation in war, Stephen. I really do. Yeah, I have a hesitation with that because war is, I don't know. It's one of those things that you wish we didn't have in the world, but we do have it in the world. But I don't know. I don't know what to think. That one's really boggles my mind. So I'm not going to. Simple as that. I'll think about that tomorrow, as Scarlett would say from Gone with the Wind. So, I think there's damage that can be done by toting the word hero and dropping it like a hat all the time. I think there's damage done to kids. If you ask kids who their heroes are, 9 times out of 10, and I know this for a fact because one of the thematic units I did many years ago was what we're talking about today. What is a hero to you? Who are your heroes? And why are they your heroes? And it was an assignment to write a paper, do a project on. And guess what? 9 out of 10 of those kids talked about somebody that was in the sporting world or as a celebrity. A few of them actually got the point and looked at ones that, were trying to solve world hunger or disease. But they all thought, because they're told, that's what a hero is. They're told, and I think they get mixed up between fame and being heroic. And I think to go back to what Mel said, that real heroes don't talk about themselves. Yeah. But these ones the kids were having, how did they know they were heroes? Because they had, had scored the winning basket in the Raptors game, or the goal that changed the whole playoffs around in favor of the team they were on.
A real hero doesn't probably necessarily, even if they did a really fantastic thing to save a bunch of people or something like that, probably did it because they were there at the right time and
they just
they
acted.
Could do it, and they just did it, right? And then afterwards, they don't really, if they get recognition, they find it weird getting recognition because they're only doing something that they think that they could do.
Yeah.
It's like people that save people drowning or something.
Yeah, I think that the hero is somebody who just reacts when the need comes. They're there. I've often thought, what would I do if I was put into a situation where I had to act in order to save somebody's life or something like that? I have a feeling I'd freeze. I think my mind would go blank. I don't know. I think real heroes are the people who don't freeze, who just do it. They see somebody, like, everybody knows pretty much the Heimlich maneuver if somebody's choking. And I like to think that if I was sitting in a restaurant and the person sitting over here at a table across from me started to choke, that I would not even have to think twice about it. I could go over, do the Heimlich maneuver, and help them. But I have a feeling I would be dumbfounded. I have a feeling I'd freeze. I'd go, well, first of all, I think in my mind it would go, oh, they're just coughing. They're not really, I don't know. I have no idea. And I hope I never find out. Okay? But I think real heroes are people who just act without something kicks in to them. But I think, too, that we all have heroic characteristics, too, inside ourselves. I just think it's the situation, too, that whether it brings it out or not in us. I mean, everybody thinks of being heroic actions, too, are great, big, huge actions that are world-changing. I think somebody who turns around and gives a homeless person some change, I think, is being heroic, because they know that homeless person can't give them anything back in return. They're giving them the change, not looking for a return from that, because and they had to act, because it's so much easier just to walk by those people and say, well, stupid skid, You're able-bodied. Get a job. There's lots of jobs. You can sweep a floor, can't you? And I'm one of those people. I'm also one of those people that have actually given. I had a guy come up to me. I'm not saying that I'm a hero. I'm not. But I had a young fellow, probably in his late 20s, scuzzy-looking character. I was coming out of my sewing class. I was putting my sewing machine in my car. And this guy says to me, "Hey, man, have you got any spare change? I got to get some lunch. I need something to eat." Well, my first reaction was to go, no. And that's usually my first reaction when that happens, because he's a young guy. He looks pretty able-bodied. He wasn't with a walker, a wheelchair. He didn't have missing a limb or anything, you know. So my mind is going, look, you can get a job like everybody else. It may not be as the CEO of a major corporation, but, you know, why are you bugging me for change? Do I look like I'm made of money? But on the other hand, I went in my pocket, I looked, and I had nothing. I didn't have any change. And he said something about, yeah, I just needed, he was trying to get $5 so you could get a sandwich at Subway. It was right there alongside. And, you know, I don't know why I did it, but I said, well, here. I gave him $5. And he said something to me. And I don't know what he said. I didn't hear it clearly, but I probably had this look on my face like, what the hell? And he says, oh, no, man, I was just kidding or something. I said, no problem. Bye. I don't know what he said. I have no idea what he said. But I just did that. I mean, yeah, I kind of looked at it afterwards and went, well, there's $5 I'll never see again. But then again, in the big scheme of things, doesn't matter. And there was one day where, and I still don't know why I did that, this lady was in the subway ahead of me. Subway, what I mean is subway submarines, not subway as in underground kind of a thing. And I was ordered a sub, and she had ordered ahead of me, and she had a coupon. I had coupons too. They come up with these all the time, where you can get 2 6-inch subs for one price, but you had to buy a drink with them. Okay, so she gets up to the cash register and they tell her, and she says, well, I have a coupon. They said, well, you have to order a drink. Now the drink added some money onto this, and she says, I don't have enough for a drink. I just want the subs. I got this coupon. Well, they weren't going to let her have the subs, but they didn't really know what to do. They were kind of looking at her like, you know, you got to buy pop. You got to buy 2 pops with this kind of thing. And she was saying, oh, well, I don't have the money. And I overheard her say that she was getting this she's a caregiver for somebody that was in a wheelchair. Because I heard her on the phone to this person saying, you know, what did you want on your sandwich? So she only had enough money with this coupon to get these 2, and that was it. So I just turned around and says, it's okay. I said, put it on my bill. I says, I'll pay for that as well. And she was like profusely thankful, and she says, well, here, you might as well have the coupon. I says, I got a wallet full of them. I said, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. And that's not really not my nature. I mean, she wasn't a scuzzy. She wasn't a homeless person. But I don't know why I did it. But I'm not saying I was a hero because I did it. But what I'm saying is sometimes you just do things because something inside of you just says do it. And I can't explain how that works. And I think that's how heroes work. Real heroes. I think they act without thinking about it twice or expecting anything in return. I don't know. Laura says, we all have heroic qualities. We all do. Yeah, Laura, I'm not that good a guy. And I'm not even telling you this stuff to, you know, get kudos for what I did. I'm not expecting any kudos from it. It wasn't anything major. It didn't solve world hunger. Okay? It's just what I'm saying is it's just an example of, I guess, there's a little bit of hero in all of us. And you never know when it's going to kick in. And hopefully it kicks in at the time when it should. But if you're a celebrity, if you're a sports star, and other people are calling you a hero because you did nothing, because you won the game, it's a game.
I mean, like for instance, Kobe Bryant, if he hadn't died in that helicopter and went on for the rest of his life, would people later on say that he was a hero?
No. I mean, it was tragic, yes.
Yeah.
I think what was more tragic about the whole thing was the way the media reported it. The media seemed to forget that there were 7 other people besides Kobe Bryant and his daughter on that helicopter that lost their lives. They don't talk about them. They talk about Kobe Bryant because he was a big name. These other ones were just schmucks that no one knew anything about, I guess. Well, they just had tragedy. Their families just had tragedy enter into their lives with the loss of them as well. Laura says, well, you help one person, that's all that matters, I suppose. Mel says, before people talk about heroes, we should define what hero word really means. It might mean very different things to each person. I think you're right. I think it does mean something different to each person. And through my convoluted discussion here, convoluted discussion, I'm trying to come up with a definition. I don't know if there is a definition. I know what it's not, in my opinion. Okay, it is not somebody whose claim to fame is because they won the game or because they got an Academy Award or a Grammy or anything like that. I don't think they're heroes. I think they're famous, but they're famous because of what they do. They're not famous because they helped anybody out with it. And go back to what other people said. Hero is somebody who doesn't, you may never hear about them because they don't have a big name in society. They just did something that needed to be done at the time that it was needed.
Heroes don't get paid.
Yeah, true. Heroes don't get paid for it. So, I think possibly you might even say there were probably some heroic people on those ships that had the coronavirus on the Diamond Princess. I mean, there were people there that had to do their job in spite of the danger to themselves. Yes, they were trying to take precautions in the whole bit, and yes, they were being paid. It was their job, and they didn't really have a whole lot of choice, I suppose. But, there was one guy, apparently he was a comedian, hired by the cruise ship, and he escaped.
Quarantine.
Yeah, he escaped quarantine. He didn't have the coronavirus, but he didn't wait for the final results to come in. He had a gig he had to get to, so off he went. And if he flew, and he got through, he somehow got through.
Well, he didn't have any symptoms, I don't
No,
know.
but he managed to get on the plane before they knew he was even on the plane to come back to the States. Now, maybe justifiably, he lost that gig that he was supposedly going to, and he's been blacklisted by the cruise company, and the cruise company is Carnival, and they own most of the cruise ships out there. So he's been blacklisted from jobs. So his act of selfishness, he got what he deserves, I guess, out of it all. But there's somebody that wasn't acting in a very heroic way. Yeah, that person feels they're entitled, yeah. And no heroes get compensation. Bye, Cindy. Have a good night.
Yeah, bye, Cindy.
So the other thing I wanted to say about heroes too is I think sometimes when we hear about these heroes, the celebrity type heroes, I think they make us feel bad about ourselves when we hear about them. We're going, well, wait. Why are they touted like Kobe Bryant as being, the next best thing to sliced bread? And the rest of us go on through our miserable little lives kind of a thing, trudging out there doing what we can, where we can. We recycle things. We try to be nice to the environment. We try not to kick the neighbor's dog or kid, that kind of stuff. And then these ones who out of the blue win a big championship game or something, score the winning basketball or basket, whatever they call it. You can tell I'm really up on sports. And they get all this. And the rest of us thinking, what are we doing wrong in our lives? Nobody likes us. And I think that really has an effect on kids. Because kids all think that they all try to rise to celebrity status. They think that if they put on a YouTube channel or put in a video on YouTube or something, or they can get onto a music show like American Idol, America's Got Talent, or something like that, or win a beauty contest, or become really good in their sport, that they are hero material, that they're going to get everything. And then when they find out there's a lot more to it than just that, like hard work and a lot of luck, then they go into depression. And I think heroes, wrongly named hero people who are wrongly labeled as a hero, I think they have an effect on young people, especially on their mental and emotional stability. So I think they do a lot of damage in our society too. I think we should be very careful about who we put the title of hero on. Mel says, by the way, feels so funny when you use word kudos. Even I know what it means in English. In our language, kudos means weave, fabric, web, and tissue. Oh, that's interesting. You're not doing anything wrong if you don't follow sports. Well, no, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I just don't care for them. I don't care. You can have sports all you want. Just don't expect me to enjoy it, because I don't. But then again, a lot of people don't enjoy quilting either. So, tit for tat. I think all the people who testified before the U.S. Congress are heroes because they did so knowing there would be negative consequences, loss of jobs, and threats to their lives. That's interesting. I think for some of them you're right. But I also think a lot of it was, well, I don't think a lot. I think I know all of it is politically motivated too in there. And I have a feeling that a lot of those people that testified as well, there was some angle they were working for themselves as well. But maybe not. Maybe I'm just being cynical. Maybe for some of them, they just truly believe that the wrong man is in power and he has to be ousted. And if that's the case, then I think they're a hero too. But that brings up the whole question about politicians. Are politicians heroic? I don't think most of them are. At least not the ones I know about in this country. I don't think so. So, bottom line here is, do heroes really contribute to the overall good in our society? Do we need heroes? Do we need them? If we all have heroic characteristics in us, isn't that enough? If it is, shouldn't it be enough that we do the right thing when the right thing needs to be done?
I think the people, they do have a program in Ottawa and stuff like that, that if somebody goes in and somebody saves a kid, risks their own life to save somebody or something like that, they do get recognized or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's important.
I think that's important to recognize that they go beyond, but they don't necessarily call those people heroes.
No.
Like, I'm thinking of things like the Order of Canada that is given to people who have contributed in a major way to our Canadian society. Mm-hmm. And that award goes to journalists, that award's gone to novelists, literary people, it's gone to people in politics, it's gone to people in the medical field. I mean, there's a whole array of people that have won the Order of Canada. But I don't ever remember when they give out the Order of Canada to somebody if they've ever used the word hero with it. And I think that's probably a good thing, because they're being recognized for their contribution to the overall progression and good of our society in some way. So I think a hero is on a little bit different level. I think we shouldn't use the word hero. Overuse
as
it.
often as we do.
No,
yeah.
I think we should truly save that word for really exceptional contributions. Something that has really changed.
It's like Bonnie says, Order of Canada starting become a little offbeat too, like Jan Arden got it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, I don't know why.
She got off the train in Oshawa and said they let her off in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Place that we live in.
And she's fat. So that's what I would say to her. I live in the middle of nowhere and you're fat. I can always move. What are you going to do? Mel says she agrees with Andy. Also, people who speak for others in countries where they life is in danger because of their opinions. For example, Chinese artist, I don't know how you say that, A. Weiwei, I'm not saying that right, is an excellent example of a hero. No, the Order of Canada does not use hero. It's an American term. Yeah? Bonnie says she isn't fat. Now. She's still a cow. Okay? She's not my hero, and I think she should have her Order of Canada revoked just to say that we're in the middle of nowhere. Cow. Moo moo. Moo 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 moo. Make a song out of that, Jan Arden. I don't think her music's even that shit hot. Anyways, but okay, that's just my opinion. Doesn't she come from the East Coast? Or is she from the West? I don't know. Bonnie, you're probably a big fan of hers, and I've probably just insulted you to no end. Sorry about that, but moo moo moo. She's from Calgary. Okay. Good thing. There's a lot of cows in Calgary. Stampede! Can you say stampede? Yeah. Okay. What you put in this drink?
Vodka. There's vodka in there.
Oh, is there? Oh,
Yeah.
it's not a virgin? Okay. Well, anyways, I've pretty much exhausted what I want to say about heroes. Yeah, you're right, Bonnie. I think everyone's title, she says, their own opinion. Yeah, and it is my opinion. I don't know. Maybe she's probably a lovely person, but I'll never meet her. It's not like she's going to drop in on the doorstep and ask if she can borrow a cup of sugar and come in for a drink. Oh, Jan, come on in. Yeah, join the group. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Okay, so I think that's for time today. Yep. So just for next week, we will be on an hour later. It'll be 5 because I'm teaching an art journaling class again. Seems to creep up on us. And this week, or when I teach art journaling class, we're experimenting with chemicals for transferring things with jelly plates. So I'll let you know how that all works out. And speaking of which, we are going to do another art attack. It's not going to be for a few weeks, but we're thinking we're actually going to do something with jelly plate printing and tags. And maybe experiment ourselves with a little bit of transfer techniques and things like that.
Fun with tags.
Fun with tags. Yeah, if you watch The Big Bang Theory, you'll get sort of the reference to that one. And if not, never mind. Is this the week time changes? Oh. That's a good question. I don't know. You looking it up on your phone? Alexa, when does the time change in Canada?
Daylight savings time will end on November 1st, 2020 in Canada.
That's not what I asked. Alexa, when does standard time in North America begin?
This might answer your question. North America has 6 time zones, but you can ask me the time for a specific
Yeah,
country.
North America, each different area.
Oh, right. Okay. And some,
In Ontario.
Oh, yeah. Do you find it there? Walter's looking it up. Bye, Laura. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so the next art attack won't be obviously next Sunday because I have my art journal class.
Sunday, March 8th.
Oh, so that's when we come back
Right.
from the retreat. And I was going to say the weekend after that we won't be able to do it. There might not even be a Stephen and Walter live on March the 8th because we're going to be at a sewing retreat for 4 days and it ends on the Sunday. But by the time we get home, it'll probably be
We might be able to do it.
but it won't be an art attack because we won't be able to do an art attack then. So the earliest an art attack would probably be the 15th of March. Oh, the Ides of March. Okay. Oh, we can wear togas and peel grapes and lay on couches and vomit. Okay, sounds good. And have an orgy. Oh, wow, that would get us views. Not. Okay, so anyways, we'll let you know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, everybody, have a good week.
Yeah. have a good week.
Tune into my vlog tomorrow. If you do, if you don't, I don't know. Maybe most of you people don't even check my vlog. I may be talking to myself, but hey, it's not the first time. Okay, have a good week,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye, everybody.